Hi, folks. How are you doing? I'm glad you came to join me after my short earlier when I was upset after doing some research. I just thought I wanted to go over some things with you about our emotions and how we address people and our country's at war. And I'm not talking with other countries, I'm talking about within. Within, with each other, you can all feel it. Everybody feels it every single day, unless you live alone and you seclude yourself. You could feel it. It's in the air. The stress, it just grips you. You go into a store, you go into school, you go into work. It's stress and it just, your stomach churns. I know you can all relate to this. So let's be real now. Let's talk about the real stuff and what's behind it. The evil that surrounds it. In this form, governs, teaches, preaches. Yes, leaders of everything has its percentage of evils to make us fear. When we fear, we become insecure, weak, anxious, on alert, vulnerable, and that is when we lose power. That is when we lose composure. That is when we lose who we are in our heart. We let our ego out and we get enraged, and it shows. And that's what, when you back a bear up into a corner, what's it going to do? Is it just going to stand there and say, okay? No, that bear is going to strike back. That's what creates conflict. They put us in a state of fear. And yes, it's politicians, it's preachers, priests. Our government makes us fear with wars, weather manipulation, finances, fear of disease coming. How we all know that. The lies, the deceit. They pit us against each other intentionally. They threaten, nuclear war from this place and that place. That fear, it gets in our head. We're like walking on eggs. This last disease, the sea, look at how they controlled us. Take a big look. Let's make some sense. And this is always gnawed at me. Church is an essential. School is an essential. Your job wasn't essential unless you cooperated. But do you know what you were allowed to do? You were allowed to go into a liquor store. You were allowed to go into, of course, grocery stores. But what did grocery stores make you do? Yep, got to wear the face diaper. And in a lot of cases, not just one. That's how much control they had. Now, I want you to research that. There is a lot of people speaking out about just how efficient those face diapers were. They're not. I worked in healthcare. About the best thing those things are good for is if you sneeze or if you cough or simply if you spit while you talk, and we all know those people, it's to stop that from getting on the patient. That's what it's good for. Do your research on that if you don't believe me, because I'm here to tell you, I know a lot of medical people that would argue with me in a heartbeat without doing any research. It even says right on the box when you buy them, will not stop, the flu. All right. And then let's talk about race. We are pitted against each other for the color of our skin. We got whites, blacks, Asians, Native Americans, all kinds of different people pitted against each other. Let's look different or differently. Let's look at it differently. No matter what color a person is, they got a brain, they got eyes, they got a nose, they got a mouth, they got the inner organs, same as you and me, same as any other color. Everybody's got the same. Everybody bleeds red. Everybody's bodily organs are exactly the same. The only difference is the color of the skin. Everybody has a functioning brain. Everybody has the same. It's the same. It's like changing your shirt. You put on a different color shirt. Does that make you a different person on the inside? No, it doesn't. And that's the part that gets me. The part that really gets me is, yes, you've got some that take it to another level. There is no doubt about it. I've encountered it myself, born and raised in the city of Chicago. I no longer live there, but left there 23 years ago or 22 years ago. So I've encountered it with all different colors. I'm not saying everybody is good and they're saintly. No, I'm not saying that at all. But neither are the other colors. But we are bred. that we are different. It's in our head, it's in our thoughts, it's in our actions. But I'm here to tell you right now, if you give it some thought, and God forbid something awful happens to you, and you need a pint of blood, when that nurse goes to hang that IV with that blood and puts it in your skin, do you stop her and say, excuse me, can you tell me what color person gave that blood? Because I can't tell, it's all red. Do you care? If you need a pint of blood, are you really going to ask what color person gave that blood? No. There are people that need kidneys. They can't just take anybody's kidneys. It's got to be a perfect match. So if somebody of a different color is a perfect match to you, let's say it's a coworker, and they decide, I'm willing to give my kidney to save your life. And that person is, let's say, Asian. Are you going to refuse it and die? Are you going to say, no, life's not worth an Asian kidney in my body? Because I'll call you full of shit if you say that. So you see, if we all stop and think about it, we are no different, no matter what color people are. Everybody's got a brain, everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got a heart, everybody's got senses. Politics. Pick a side. You either wear a blue hat or you wear a red one. Relationships. That's a big one. Spouses, husbands, wives. The battles that go on. Why? Why? Difference of opinion? Really? Is that worth it? Siblings, children. I know I got 3 boys. When they were younger, it took everything I had to stop them from fighting. Everything. And what was it over? Stupid crap. And everybody, my dad used to laugh and say, oh, boys will be boys. Yeah, well, girls will be girls too. And we could be pretty wicked if we want to be. Every one of you can relate to that. Job titles. Oh, that's a good one. We're the peon worker in a factory. And there's a lead 1 step above us that we have to listen to. And then there's a manager over that lead that we don't even talk to in order to get information to that manager, we have to go through the lead. So it's a ladder that goes up. We're looked down on for the title at our job. Unless, of course, we're the CEO at the top. Everybody else is nothing but peons. Why? Why? They got an opinion same as you. They eat just like you do. They breathe just like you do. It's all judgment. Everything is based about and around judgment. Everybody judges everybody. Why? Why? Why are we pitted against each other? Why do we have that belief? You know, how many times have you gone to a family doing a birthday party, a holiday dinner? Does it not always at some point somebody's button heads with somebody else over something stupid? It always happens. I've seen it throughout my whole life. In my own family and other people's family and other areas I've gone to. Somebody will bring up the wrong topic, and my father always used to have a rule: when you walk out of your house, don't you ever talk about politics or religion. Let's save all arguments. Oh, was he? But isn't it a shame that we can't sit down as a civil human being and talk about things without being judgmental and just accepting somebody for their thought and not feel that you've got to force that person to change their mind because you're so entitled? You're right. You know you're right. And they're entitled. But we have to remember, we all are entitled. We all are. I'm allowed to have my opinion. You're allowed to have your opinion. Does that mean we ought to argue about it? No. It's called free will. We have the free will to think and feel the way we want. And if we approach someone and they are of a different mindset, appreciate the fact that they're using their head regardless of how. And just say, I'm open-minded about your opinion. Just out of curiosity. You don't have to tell them that. Just say, I'm open-minded. And just listen. You don't know how valuable listening is. If we just listen, not so that they could convince us, but just listen politely and walk away. You don't have to sit there and say, well, I'm on the other side of the fence, and this is why, and this is what you should do, and this is the way you ought to act, and I want you to change the color of your hat. You're trying to take away that person. Why? And where is it going to get you? Is it going to get you any further in life? No. Is it going to change your life? No, it's not. These are the way our behaviors were coaxed to be divided. That's the war in this country. I know you know what I'm talking about. We see it on the streets all the time. Other group got that parade. God forbid you don't go with the flow on that day on that street where that parade's at. Okay, if you're not of that opinion, why would you go? Why do you feel the need to go and stand up with your little sign and say, I oppose you? What? Where is that going to get you in the long run? Other than probably to an emergency room to get a few stitches because you're going to have 100 people jumping on you. But seriously, stop and think about it. The conflicts that we observe every day in every aspect of life. And do you know who loves every bit of it? Government. Why? Because it keeps us from composure. It keeps us from being level-headed. It keeps us divided. Because, folks, as the saying goes, if we put these feelings that we hold dear in our heart and in our mind, it's ours. We could listen to other people with their opinions all day long, not say a word, keep your composure, and then walk away and say, I appreciate your view. Have a good day. Do you know how much less you'd have in your life rather than sit there and start an argument with the person and say, well, you can't feel that way. You're wrong. You've got to think this way and this way and because of this and this and this. And don't you see the way that's doing that and what's causing it? Where is that behavior going to get you? Seriously, other than ruining your whole day. So next time we approach somebody or somebody approaches us or we go to a family birthday party, watch our words. We all are, and that is the first step in stopping the war within us, our own actions. We got to flip the script. We have to find the kindness in our heart and let it out. Let me ask you a question. You go to the grocery store. Okay, they got automatic doors. That doesn't count. You go to a convenience store and you got to pull the door open because that's how it operates. You're coming out of it. You got your arms full, right? Maybe carrying a couple of cases of Pepsi or whatever, and your arms are full. And somebody's approaching the door at the same time. When was the last time somebody actually opened the door and held it open for you? I remember doing it as a kid. I was taught that way. But I'm a lot older. Many of you watching. I taught my boys to be that way. I'm raising my grandson. He's that way. He'll stand there and hold the door all day long. I'll be sitting in the car waiting on him to, okay, the crowd's over now. Let's go. But I'm proud of him. Times does a younger generation just ignore the fact and doesn't make any effort to help? No effort to open the door. It's from a different is from an older generation, a custom thing that parents used to teach, and it died off. It doesn't exist anymore. It's called proper etiquette. I really don't think it exists anymore. I really don't think it exists anymore. In any case, we have to watch our own attitudes. We have to watch how we approach people. We have to watch and be willing to help each other. Because if we don't help each other, nobody else is going to come help. We have to help each other. We have to be kinder to each other. We have to be more cordial with each other. We have to watch our words. We have to watch our mannerisms. We have to reteach ourselves. We really do. To stop this war from within, this division that is intentionally being put on us. I had said earlier about how the government pits us against each other and the race we're pitted against each other. Religions. I remember growing up Catholic. I was taught, I went to a Catholic grammar school, and I was taught if I dared step even on the soil of a different denomination of religion, I would go to hell. That was a mortal sin. And you better run to confession if you do that. Seriously? And I know other religions, they got their strict ways too. And that's their form to control you. Let me give you another example. Tithing. Let's talk about tithing a little bit, because I'm sure many are going to disagree with me. Now, remember, I was raised Catholic, go to church every Sunday, and that basket would come around. You were expected to give 10% of your net pay. 10%. Can you imagine doing that today? You wouldn't be able to feel the bottom of the grocery cart. Where'd that money go? Let's see, that was the salary for the priest, and help supported the rectory, help supported the convent. And then from there went, who knows? Because if they needed maintenance, that was a second basket that used to go around. So it wasn't from the first, that wasn't from the tithing basket. Do you know what my view of tithing is? My view of tithing in the eyes of God is helping someone else. If an elderly neighbor living alone and they have medical issues, my thought of tithing is when you make dinner, make them a plate and bring it over there. Or if you see somebody homeless sitting outside of a facility and you're about ready to walk into Subway or wherever you eat, grab an extra sandwich. And when you're leaving, come out and give it to the person sitting there. That's tithing. Being good and giving to those who are in need. That's tithing. Like I said, that one's going to cause a lot of comments. So as we do our own self-examination, because it's real easy when someone approaches you with their pushy attitude, it's real easy to come back. I know it is for me. I'm very open-mouthed, and but I've toned it down to some extent. So if we're more mindful and more courteous, do you see how we can change the world we live in? Do you see how that small little effort of holding the door open for somebody, or your attitude, when you're leaving a grocery line, tell the clerk, I hope you have a great day. Always be courteous. And if you and your spouse, you see opinions are opposite and something's brewing, stop. Say, you know what? We have a difference of opinion. I'm going to go take a walk. And just go take a walk. Meditate. Come back in a few minutes. The denseness of the air is going to be a lot less. It's all these small little things that can make huge strides as we move on. Spread kindness in your home, in your family, when you're out and about, to strangers. Smile at them. Say hello. You don't need to engage in a long, drawn out conversation. Just smile and say, have a great, good day today. Or, how are you? It's all it takes. You know, the person that you do that to might have just had a really, really tough day. And that smile that just came off your face could just put that little spark of warmth back into that other person's heart. All it takes is a smile. We have to remember one thing. We are all, regardless of how we think, how we dress, what size we are, what color we are, what ladder on the promotion for our career, regardless of what we do for work, regardless of all of that, go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. And always, always remember we are all made by the very same creator. All of us, regardless of religion, regardless of race, regardless of profession, regardless of politics. We are all born from the same creator. Whatever name you want to give him, it's God for me. But there are other religions that don't call him God, and that's okay. God don't care. He knows. There is only one creator. And he didn't make us all meaning to look like a duplicate. If we all looked the same, how would we wouldn't know one from each other. So in reality, because we're all made from the creator, regardless of all of our differences, including color and politics and all that, doesn't that make us all brothers and sisters? I think it does. And we're entitled to all have our own opinion. And that doesn't give us the right to force our opinion on others. Why? Because we all have free will. Every single one of us. And after that fight and that argument, regardless of who it's with, we're going to walk away and we're going to use our own free will. So all that effort, all that stress, all that anger was for absolutely nothing. Because it isn't going to change that person and it's not going to change you. So why not smile and say, have a nice day? and everybody keep their opinions to themselves. If you want to have a discussion, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you see it start to take a turn, change the subject. The bottom line, folks, united we stand, divided we fall. Don't you think in today's times, with everything going on, we ought to be united? I certainly do. And I hope you feel the exact same way as I do. Because right now, there are some horrific things going on in our own country. And I know if you've listened to my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. And getting to that topic, here's an update for you before we go. The entire Rock, North Carolina is gone. Gone. There are 13,000 people missing from Chimney Rock, North Carolina. We're hearing about the other towns, but that was a new one to me. So I just wanted to let you know how I felt about the war we're in our own country, amongst each other. And I hope it made some sense. Welcome in here, Jim. Glad to see you. I really hope that the next time you're going into a convenience store and you see somebody heading to the door, hold it open for them. It might just make their day. Or when you're leaving the checkout clerk, turn to her and say, "Thank you. Have a nice day." It means everything to people. Everything. We have to come from within our heart, not the ego in our mind. And if everybody did that, we could all become united again. With that, I'm going to go. I want you all to have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Please think about what I was saying. Let's be kind. Let's be loving. And let's be just awesome people, because we are. All of us, we are. And we're all brothers and sisters, regardless of race, creed, color, whatever. We are all brothers and sisters. So let's act like it. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Take care now. See you tomorrow.